has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
It's Ferrall on the bench, coast to coast in the biggest way possible. Hanging out the bad seat, the bad apple with a bad attitude. We are live in New York City, the Big Apple. Ooh. People dressed in plastic bags, directing traffic, some kind of fashion shake-up, along with the Tutty and Tater King himself, the founder of the ILC podcast, the rights holder of the Sheet of Integrity, and put it with the golf guru. Carver High this afternoon, ladies. Mafia is running it along with our boy Luke. I am your father. The rundown on a Misery Monday. We got a double shot with Morency this very hour from British Columbia. And then in the second hour, a double shot with Coach James Young, our basketball guru of choice. And then in the final hour, the coup de grace, your boy, Smiley Kaufman from the Smiley Show, on with Carver High today on C2C. Now, we have afternoon baseball and everything else going on. I wanted to clear one thing up. So, the regionals went down, right? The regional semis were Thursday and Friday. The finals were Saturday and Sunday. And now we know who's going to the Final Four and everything. Carver High, it would appear to me I took some heat for betting all of the favorites in the games, and I hit all of them, and then I got all four number ones from the jump into the Final Four, just like in 08 in San Antonio. History repeats itself. All four number ones go back to the Final Four in San Antonio, and I got heat for picking heavyweights. And I just know one thing. They all had to win the games. They had to go out and win. Houston and Purdue was 60-all until the inbounds play on the baseline and the dunk. And they won the game. Every game they had to win, they did. All these teams won. I said on Friday. I said on Thursday. They're the better teams. These are the best teams in America. I said it defensively, offensively. These are the teams that are going to make it to San Antonio, and they did. Kiss my ass if you don't like money line straight up winners. Hell, I hit 7 of the spreads in the games. That's not good enough either. Screw you. People that say it's easy picking heavyweights. Was it easy picking the 4 number ones at the start of the NCAA tournament to go to the Final Four? Oh, that's easy. That's what they say. That's what all these geniuses and morons say. And it's happened once. It's happened once in history. Once. Now twice. And I nailed it. So have a sandwich with mayonnaise on it, girly man. And it was fun watching all 12 games I hit. All 12. So think whatever you like. Tell your mother. Tell your mommy. Have some milk and cookies. Some little chocolate chip cookies with your milk. You can dip it in your milk like a girly man. Carver High, take it away, Calgon, son. I got no time for people that don't think it matters when you hit big heavies and they get it done for you, son.
Yeah, only the second time ever you get all 4 number ones into the Final Four. And strangely, both times were when the games are in San Antonio, the Final Four. So that's kind of strange that it was like in 07 right. In San Antonio, it was all 4 ones. And now here in 25, you get all 4 ones on the Riverwalk. Down there at the Alamo Dome, which was where we will be this week, of course, for Duke, Houston, Auburn, and Florida. The Final Four, we will get all into it today.
Florida had no business being in that Final Four, down 10 with 3 minutes to go. They got no business being there. But that was easy, too, picking them. They were down the whole game. It was so easy picking them to win the game. But they got it done, too. So have a sandwich.
They got it done. They got it done. Clayton got hot, and they got it done down the stretch. They were able to advance on. We do have a bunch of games in the afternoon in baseball. It's good to have afternoon baseball back. The Orioles lead the Red Sox 4-0. They put up 4 in the bottom of the first, so not a good start for the Sox down at Camden. The White Sox, speaking of not a good start, not a good start for Chris Paddock of the Twins. He gave up 9 runs in the first 3 innings. 9-0 White Sox as they play in the top of the 4th inning in Chicago.
That'll be win number 2. All we need is 52 more.
And considering all the belly aching that I heard this weekend about the Yankee offense with those dopey bats, I guess maybe the problem's really the Brewer pitching because they're down 4-0 again in the 3rd inning against
what's
Kansas
the matter,
City.
Curly, man?
Maybe the problem is the Brewers just aren't that good. Maybe it's that. And not that the Yankees are using torpedo bats, which many have used before, by the way, not just before this weekend with the Yankees. So that's your live action. And Rockies-Phillies starts in a couple of minutes as they are down in Philadelphia at the bank. Christopher Sanchez and German Marquez will be going today. Minus 310 for Sanchez and the Phillies and an 8.5.
I got to get in on that, Phillies game. It's their home opener, right? You know what's going to happen there. We all know what's going to happen there. That's going to be a little Schwarbaum sitting in a little Schwarbaum tater today. What about Bryce? Little Bryce tater, double taters?
Yeah, a couple taters. I actually like Alec Boehm today for the taters. Right. We got Alec Boehm cooking today. And why not? Harper and Schwarbaum, they could get involved as well for us. So we have lots of baseball that we will be watching. How about this? I also have this for you if you want to watch it. The Crown basketball tournament in Vegas starts today. 4 games today, 4 games tomorrow. The Crown out of the MGM Grand Garden Arena
right now. I'm turning that on. Screw this Oriole game. I hate the Red Sox.
Utah minus 1.5, 156.5 against Butler getting started right now.
I got to go already. I think bottom line is your boy, I watched that in 4K, son. Your boy, Thad's a better coach here, but Utah's the better, bigger team. And I think they're both awful. So I know it's 9-5 Utah early, but I think Thad's the coach. Utah doesn't even have a coach. Didn't they fire their coach? They didn't even have a coach. So
I think they've hired a new one since then, but you have to wait. We'll see. I think that their new coach obviously isn't coaching today, but plenty are in the mix there in Vegas this afternoon. The Crown, we'll give you the lines for the other games coming up later on.
Cover the 2 and a hook with the Bulldogs. He's a good coach.
Why not? So we have that. We have the Final Four. We'll do all the baseball from the weekend as well. As I mentioned quickly, the Yankees wrecking crew in the Bronx against the Brewers. And everybody talks about the bats. Calm down.
I've never seen anything like that Saturday. I even was texting
one after
you.
Another. One after another. 4 off of Nasty Nestor.
Wasn't that great?
Nasty Nestor in the
Nasty
first inning.
comes back to the Bronx and gets torched.
Weekend, we'll do all the NBA from the weekend as well. We have games tonight that we have to get to. Celtics Clippers, I believe, on the schedule tonight. You have a couple of really good games that we are going to get. Yeah, how about that? Hey, that guy Stewart on the Pistons. I never see that guy ever do anything except start brawls. The LeBron brawl, this brawl, the other. I never seen him hit a shot, but he starts plenty of fights out on the floor. That's for sure. Getting involved.
7 ejections, violence spilled into the crowd. It was the malice in the palace all over again.
Malice in the palace all over again. And the NFL league meetings are this week in Florida, where I got a Mike Tomlin clip for you later on talking about Aaron Rodgers. And he'd be comfortable with Mason Rudolph as the quarterback this year. Comfortable. I don't know how comfortable everyone else would be. But
I'll be comfortable that if that's the case, that next year they're going to get Arch Manning in the draft in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I'll be comfortable with that because they'll lose a lot of games this year.
Probably.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
You can catch Sports Rage weeknights at 10 on all of our TV and radio outlets with Gabe Morency. We get Morency for a double shot every day on Coast to Coast. He's very upset. The weekend started off poorly with the Michigan Wolverines going down to Auburn, who would eventually finish off Michigan State and get to the Final Four. A lot of people wanted to see Michigan and Michigan State play on Sunday. That didn't happen. That upset Morency. But he's still, I think, undefeated with the Dodgers, so he's okay. Overall, he's okay.
Yeah, I'm okay, Scott. I'm doing well, thank you. Good to see you. And, honestly, I was just upset Michigan didn't cover, right? Yeah. I didn't think Michigan had a national championship in them. Dustin May's first year. They won 8 games last year, guys, right? This was an instant fix, quick turnaround, and they're going to be fine. Like Grant Hill said, Michigan are back, right? He said they're back. They'll be back next year. It is what it is. So I wasn't overly upset about Michigan getting eliminated, Scott. I was overly upset about them blowing the point spread. And one thing that I'm kicking myself, even though I won a bunch of parlays, Scott, to win the regional, Duke to win the regional, Florida to win the regional, Houston to win the regional. So I did bet all the 1 seeds to win. But you know what? It was plus 1,700, Scott. That's what the odds were for all 4 1 seeds to make the Final Four. And I talked about it a lot on Sports Rage, and I'm like, man, these are crazy. It's a big number. You're getting 17-1 for these teams. I thought Auburn was the vulnerable one, Scott. I thought Auburn potentially could have gotten knocked off along the way. They were the state of Michigan killers. But I've always said this, if you want Cinderella, rent the movie, all right, because it doesn't exist in March Madness. Cinderella and one shining moment in the first round and stuff like that, sure. But in reality, it's a 1-seed tournament, guys. 13 of the last 17 winners are 1 seeds. You sprinkle in a 2 seed every now and then. This is a blue blood, cream rises to the top tournament. And here we are with the 4 best teams in the country right now.
Yeah, I hit it. I had all 4 number ones from the jump going to San Antonio, and I went crazy with these regional semis and finals over the weekend. And they're just the best teams, flat out. Auburn is better than Michigan. Auburn is better than Michigan State. They're like, you said it last week, they're like a football team. I mean, they're enormous. They bang. Michigan State's a big banging team, but they're not as violent as Auburn is. and they covered by a
They
hook.
can't shoot either.
Barely.
They can't shoot. That's the thing. There is a drop-off. It sounds easy to say, but we all kind of knew coming into this, there is a big drop-off after the 4, right? I mean, there just is. All the other teams have flaws. You know what I mean? Like Michigan aren't a top team. They're a top 10 team, top 12 team, top 8 team, okay? Not a top team. Michigan State can't shoot. You can only outwork people for so long. Like you look at Auburn, Scott, as you stated, that matchup, they're both physical. They both crash. They both die for loose balls. They both play football on a basketball court. The only difference is one of them can shoot a 3-point shot, and that's Auburn, and the other team can't, and that's Michigan State. Alabama, great team. They don't play enough defense. It's going to catch up to them, right? It caught up to them. Michigan turned the ball over too much. It caught up to them. Everybody's flaws. Tennessee, Tennessee are really good, but Tennessee are top 6 good, right? Top 7 good. There's that sort of cutoff now, Scott. And I think we'll sort of see this along the way here. Listen, Florida and Auburn's a complete toss-up, bro. I mean, this game is like really like, who do you pick? You can make an argument for either team. I'm leaning Auburn right now. And then Duke and Houston, Scott. I like this Cougar team a lot. In fact, in a bracket that I did, I got cute and I took Houston to win the national championship. But nobody's beating Duke, bro. Duke's going to beat down Houston. I can't believe the spread's only 4.5, 5 points.
Yeah, look, the way I see it is just initially early on is that, I think Florida's really good, but they should have lost. And it's a miracle they won for me, that they came back and got it done, because I think Texas Tech barfed all over themselves. They should have sealed the deal, and they didn't. And then
missed free throws.
But listen, when it comes, Florida can play with anybody, and they're really good. I won't deny that. But they are not. They're big, but they're not physical like Auburn is. They're just talented, and they're not a violent team. They're not a banging team. They're a good team that doesn't bang. They got size that doesn't, impose their will on anyone with their size. And then as far as Duke goes, I think it's a shame that this isn't the national championship, because these are the 2 best teams in the country. Both defensively, I think Duke and Houston are the 2 best defensive teams in the country. The difference is that Duke is better on the offensive end than Auburn. So I think they can score 75 on Houston, and I don't think Houston can score more than 68, 70 points on Duke.
What makes Duke so dangerous, you talk about, they're arguably the best defensive team in the country, but they're also the deepest team in the country, right? Florida are deep, and that's what makes them good. I agree with you, Scott. They're not the most physical team. They turn the ball over a lot, Florida. They can get beat on the boards, even though they are big dudes. They're really, really good. But the thing with Duke is, even if you took Cooper Flagg off the floor, they would still be a Final Four team. Like, they're still that good. Like, they literally have, their players are better than your players. I mean, Cooper Flagg's the best player on the floor. Listen, Broom's a badass. So that'll be a lot of fun if we get to the final, which I kind of think that's what we're on a collision course for right now. But how about Knuppel, Scott? This kid's a baller. The Mallock kid.
Unbelievable for his size.
Yeah.
He just looks like such a pudgy kid, but he's 6'7", and he gets to the 10, and he can shoot from mid-range and 3. He can do it all. Look, they won with Flagg doing almost nothing. He had 16. That's a bad game for him. But everybody, I thought the brother in the middle with all the lob dunks and Mallock and his block shots, he's a
top
monster.
10 pick in the NBA draft,
I can't wait to see him against Broom, honestly. That guy can play.
He's a top 10 pick in the NBA draft too, Scott. Like, he's a lottery pick. Like Mallock right now, people are like, yeah, they got him going 8 to 12 type of deal. So you got guys going in the top. You get a Proctor. You got guys going in the top 10 that aren't even Cooper Flagg. You got to deal with this. Have fun.
I told you before, my dad went to Duke, and I hated him for it. He never shut up. And I hate Duke, and then I like Cooper Flagg so much that I hate myself now. The whole thing is turned on me. Now I don't hate Duke. I hate myself.
It's Coach K that we disliked, I think, Scott. Nobody hates Duke as much as since he's gone.
Nobody.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We're talking to Morency, and he's already watching the Crown basketball tournament in Vegas. He loves action. And then I wanted to get your reaction. Do you think the Yankees cheat?
No, they're not the only ones doing it, right? There's sort of a no but coming. They're not the only ones doing it. So they're not the only team using this. And for the record, Aaron Judge is not using one of these torpedo bats, but I'm not a fan of this, Scott. I mean, you know, these you look at the barrel, the size of the barrels, bro. These aren't baseball bats. These are made for the Gambino family to crush skulls. Like, you can't miss the head. It's like, hey, Vito, you missed the head. Like, not with this barrel. Like, you know what I mean? Like, boom. Like, you know what I mean? It's, at what point? You going to let him use a paddle? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, well, it's legal. We moved the wood. Okay, you did that. Wait till a pitcher takes a line drive off the face at like 123 miles an hour.
They use the wicket? Is that what
they use?
Yeah,
like, let me use a paddle. Come up here. Boom. Like, what are we doing here, Scott? Like, at what point, like, I guess I was thinking about it. I want to hate it. I don't like it. They want to do everything for offense all the time. Don't tell me the balls aren't juiced either, dude. There's already a bunch of home runs today as well in the first innings, and it's not even hot out. It's cold on the East Coast, and, like, the ball is flying. They're using juiced balls. Like, point blank. They're throwing these torpedo bats, and that's why we have 1 million home runs in every game right now. But I was kind of thinking about it, Scott, and, like, we're not going to go to aluminum bats in Major League Baseball. God knows what Manfred will do, but I guess it's like hockey, bro, when we brought in these composite sticks, right? You know, they break all the time.
Listen, do you care? Like, I watched that game the other day. I have to be honest. So I've always said I could watch a baseball game and be passed out by the fourth inning. It's so boring to me. And then I watched this game the other day, Saturday, and I literally wanted to see Nasty Nestor as a Brewer because he was with the Yankees. The guy comes out,
he was nasty, all right.
Hair, and he threw 4 pitches, and there were 4 home runs. I was like, Jesus Christ, holy. And then they were just flying out. This guy hit 3 home runs, Judge, a grand slam. A 4th one went off the top of the wall. And then the next day, Sunday, he steps up and belts another one. And I was like, what is happening here? This is awesome. So if juice baseballs are making me interested in baseball again, so be it.
Well, That's the thing, right? I mean, the baseball, last time baseball was really, really popular was the steroid era. You know what I mean?
You're
Chicks
right.
dig the long ball. Fans dig the long ball. It's a little excessive when you have 9 of them. And it's like, all right, a home run for you, everybody. We're playing with a Super Bowl now. So, and also, though, I guess we should know, maybe the Brewers pitching staff, I don't know what the hell's going on, Scott. Because I thought,
the
listen,
game would be great with a Super Bowl.
well, we're using one right now. And baseball's the only sport, too, that baseball didn't like question guys about their ball all the time. So, you know what they did? They bought the factory. Like, baseball's the only sport that, like, makes their own ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like the
UFC does their own drug testing now. They got rid of WADA. They're like, we're gonna check the fighters now.
Exactly.
No one's high.
No one's doing drugs here. No, of course not. Like you said, anytime they're policing themselves, bro, it's like they don't like. It's easier to get a tour of Fort Knox. Hey, what's going on here at Fort Knox, anyways? Than it is like to go to Costa Rica.
Not with our military. We just send out our war plans to everybody via email. It's a mass email. We all got it at SportsGrid. Coast to coast, we all got it.
I got a text here. What, Iran? Like what's this about Iran? Yeah. Who isn't getting a text now? But also, like baseball, they don't tell you. You can't get into the factory. And if the workers have like non-disclosure agreements, like every year the baseball is different. They use a different ball in spring training. Then they give the players a new ball. It's like it's a freaking baseball, Scott. Make a baseball. How hard is this? But no, like every year they sort of make the ball to their liking. And the way the ball is flying right now, this thing is juice. Let's just all they do is they wind it tighter, guys, inside. Right? I mean, there's all a bunch of yarn inside of baseball.
Right.
Yeah, it's just, but they, so how do they juice it? They're not sticking a needle in it. You know what I mean?
You remember when you were a kid? Did you ever undo one and see it?
Oh,
You see the ball in the middle?
Yeah, you'd be hanging with the leather. Yeah.
Right.
All that. That's why we've all done it. Exactly. So, like, they have these machines, dude. They just do it so tight, Scott. It turns in. Look at the baseball, guys. Remember when you were a kid, try to bounce a baseball? You couldn't bounce it like a Super Bowl.
Now it's a
like
tennis ball.
Dad, Scott, you see guys in the outfield, like, dribbling it. They're like, ba-boom, ba-boom. They're like, it pops right back up to them. When we were kids, it didn't get past your knees.
It's true. All right, Morenzi.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Lost Pages. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Morency's telling me about some Villanova Belmont women's BIT tournament game going on right now, and I see it at Nova 38-33. I'm like, what the Sam hell is that tournament? The women's BIT tournament. What is that? I don't even. That can't even be. And then they have the women's NIT tournament, and that's today as well. There's 3 games. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Like, it's bad enough I'm watching this this Crown tournament. They won't even acknowledge that on like, you got to really go searching for that. But I'm watching it either way, Utah and Butler. I like hoops, so I'm cool with it. All right, Carver High. That was funny with Morency. Let's talk about these games. Let's start with that. Go back to that Friday night game, that Auburn win over Michigan. They kicked their ass.
They did kick their ass in that game on Friday night. And then, of course, you had Michigan State getting the victory on Friday night as well. So that got them together yesterday afternoon. 70-64 Auburn, who was number 1 for a very large portion of the season, now finds themselves in the Final Four. You know, they had some problems, Guy, with Broome getting hurt right on that one play. His elbow, his ankle.
Right.
It seemed like a whole bunch of stuff got Broome hurt, but he was just fine out there. First player with 25 points, 10 boards, 75% from the floor in an elite game since Hakeem Olajuwon in 1984. Some of Broome's handiwork on Westwood One Sports.
We crossed the 5-minute mark left. Auburn with possession with a 9-point lead. Broome's pass underneath taken by Kelly. Out to the wing, hands to Broome, hands back to Kelly. Behind the back bounce, Broome, open right wing 3. Got it! We got a Willis Reed moment here in Atlanta.
Yeah, listen, you know, it's funny that it's not funny at all that he actually, I think, tweaked his knee and his ankle and the elbow on that play. You could literally see his knee buckle and his ankle roll while he went down and then smashed his elbow, which was definitely effed up. And I'll tell you what, I thought it was a good game. I watched every second of it. And, you know, they beat both Michigan and Michigan State. They handled their business. People forget they were the number 1 overall seed in a tournament, and they had lost 3 of 4 going out, and everyone said they didn't deserve it to be the number 1 overall seed. And who's laughing now? I mean, they're in the Final Four. This guy's a great coach. That's just all there is to it. Broome's a great player, and they're going to be hard to beat. Obviously, I think anyone could win these games on Saturday night in San Antonio, but that guy's special. Usually, you know, when you got a player of that magnitude, this like Cooper Flagg, this guy Broome, they really tend to make it, right? They tend to get it done and go to the final. And that's just all there is to it. Back in the day when I was covering it, Indiana had Alford. And I'll never forget against UNLV, he hit a shot and got fouled at the half and made a 4-point play. And when he shot the ball, he shot it from about 30 feet, and he held up 4 fingers. And he was at the Final Four, and he knew he was going to make. The guy made 98% of his free throws. Socks, shorts, 1, 2, 3. He used to do the same thing every time he shot a free throw. The guy never missed. He was Mr. Basketball. The only thing that's left crazy to think about that guy was that he was never hired at Indiana. And I've heard the stories over and over through the years he wasn't hired because Quinn Buckner didn't like him. And he's like the head of everything at Indiana, the board of trustees and all the rest. So he never wanted Steve Alford. I always thought Alford would eventually end up the Indiana coach. But at this point, frankly, he's almost too far west and too far gone and too old. I don't think they need to go back in time anymore for these old coaches. I think this guy, DeVries, that they got is the beginning of the end for a guy like Alford in Bloomington. It'll never happen.
Yeah, probably not at this point. The other thing that I think gets lost about Auburn is their starting lineup is all seniors who are like between 21 and 23 years old, like guys who have been playing college basketball for a while. You know, this isn't like a couple of freshmen who are. They have guys who have logged a lot of college basketball games, and sometimes that team does get all the way to the end. Here's Bruce Pearl. He wasn't really waiting on any doctors or anything. When he saw Broom come back down the tunnel, he was putting him in.
Did you get a diagnosis from the team doctor? Was it hyperextension or anything? And is there anything that he will be limited doing in the next week?
Yeah, Pat, I didn't get any diagnosis. When Janai came out of the locker room, I hadn't talked to the doctor, but I just asked him, are you good to go? He said, I am. I said, well, get your ass in there. And so Dylan was ready to come out. Dylan was kind of calling the bench. And if Janai had not come out, I probably would have just, called a timeout. I think we won't really know until tomorrow and see what that was. Whether it's a slight hyperextension or whatever it was. Obviously, the doctors were able to examine it and determine that there was no damage.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I do believe this, that I've been in games. I play on this NBA court, right? And if I run up and down that thing for about 4 or 5 straight minutes, I'm also waving to the bench to get someone to come in for me. I can only do it for about 5 minutes now, where I go just up and down, back and forth, and there's no whistles. You don't realize how big the NBA court is until you're out there running on it. And you see, like, the college gym is smaller. The high school gym's even smaller than that. They're all different. And the bigger the court, the more problems. Guys get gassed. And even that college court is big. So he said a guy was waving, get me out of here. And that's when you're tired. And it happens all the time. That guy Broom's a badass. He's a badass.
Yeah, I find it very hard to believe that anything is going to keep him out of that Final Four game on Saturday against Florida. I find it very hard to believe. He'll be out there.
All the best players.
One way or the other.
If you look at the history of this thing, great players tend to push through and get through to the final. It just always happens. It's rare that you see the greats lose in the semis. They usually make it to the final game, and they may not win it, but they get there. Like, I've seen it so many times where you see these heavyweights. The team with the stars always makes it.
It's usually how it goes. Houston also will be there in San Antonio this weekend after beating Tennessee 69-50. Little bit of everyone for the Cougs. Emmanuel Sharp downtown, Westwood One Sports.
They swing it around with 15 to shoot, and they'll reset. Uzan back over to Cryer. Cryer to the free throw line. No look to Sharp. 3 on the right wing. Oh! Sharp cuts him to the quick. Another 3. His 3rd in a row. And it's 62-44. He's hit his last 3 from deep.
I thought Sharp played great. He was fantastic. He was knocking down threes. This is a very dangerous team. I think their defense is suffocating. And it just, the same thing. You talk about these teams like Alabama when they played Duke. They weren't going to have no 25 threes against Duke. I mean, they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with that defense. Same thing with Houston. You are not getting a shooting night from your squad when you play this team. You're lucky if you score 50 points. What'd they finish with in that game, Mike? What was the final?
69-50. 50 points.
I mean, and what about the game? I told you SIU Edwards, they held them to 40. You're just not going to score. The difference is that I think Duke will go over 60. I said already on the show, I think they could hit 70. That 70 would be a bad game for Duke. You see what Duke puts up? 100 in one game. Then, they score too much, and they're not afraid of good defense. They see it all the time, and they've got it down to a science. I think Duke's the best team on both ends of the floor. I think Houston's really good. What I wanted to see was that final. I wanted to see Houston-Duke. That'd be the greatest game in college basketball this year, would be Houston and Duke with those two defenses. Instead, it's going to be an SEC team against the winner of the Duke-Houston game.
You are banking on a guy that's got one Sweet 16 berth in his career.
How many years has he been a D1 head coach?
What, 15?
18.
This clown is walking into that tradition. Let me tell you something, bro. You just stepped into the hot seat, because if you don't turn it around quick, At Villanova, they're going to boo you out of there just like they booed you out of College Park tonight.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, so you talk about Houston winning, and what did Kelvin Sampson have to say? He's got a great team. They really are.
Great team indeed, and of course, Kelvin, very proud of his guys getting to the Final Four.
And that's why our kids are, this is very much a player-led team. They're responsible for our success. And, you know, as a coach, that's the way I prefer it. You know, this is the 11th team I've had at Houston. I think we've won 30-plus games 5 times, but this is the first time we've won 34 games. And I'm glad this team did it. This was the maturity level of our older guys has been good for our young guys.
Yeah, I mean, there you go, Carver High. You talk about they're deep and old, and you know, Auburn and Houston have those types of teams. Listen, I'm telling you, this team can beat Duke. They just have to play a perfect game. Like, so you look at the Duke games, and you know, Alabama did not play a perfect game. That's just all there is to it. You know, they got their ass beat. You have to play the perfect game to beat Duke. They're that good. No one wants to admit it. They're that good. Look, they scored 100 in the game before that, right? And then they scored 85. And I just said to you, I think that a good game against Houston would be 70, 75 points to me, because they're not going to give up like they give up 40, 50. You score 70 against them, that's like going off, because they don't allow it. They just don't allow it. The one thing I noticed about them yesterday was how terrific they block out and rebound. I mean, they guard you right up in your face, and they're all over you like stink on Shaq, and then they block out and rebound. You're just not getting second chances, and then you just lose. That's the bottom line.
What a run for Kelvin Sampson at Houston the last 6 years. 2 Final Fours now, an Elite Eight, and 3 Sweet 16s. He'll try to cap that off with maybe a national title. Of course, he's going to have a very tough task, though, on Saturday, as they will be playing Duke in the late game. Just one thing on Tennessee losing. Once again, no Final Four for the Vols. And after this run to the Elite Eight, they are now tied with Xavier, the most NCAA tournament wins without a Final Four appearance. 31 tournament wins, never a trip to the Final Four for the Vols. So, hey, look.
You said it on Friday. You said, quote unquote, there's no way I'm betting on Rick Barnes, end quote. And that was it. Like, players love him. He just doesn't get it done. I've always told you about them that when they are not shooting well, they're a team that you can beat. You can beat Tennessee when they don't shoot well. And guess what happened? Defense. I mean, they got shut off like a water spout. Boom.
They certainly did. Saturday night, you mentioned Duke. They beat Alabama by 20, 85-65. Once again, a lot of Cooper Flagg, a lot of Tyrese Proctor. Westwood won sports for Duke.
Flagg throwing to the far corner. Now Knippel's got it back again, driving into the lane. Jump stop, throw back, Proctor three, and there's your exclamation point. A three-pointer for Tyrese Proctor. 1:03 to go. It's a 20-point Duke lead.
Listen, I've seen, and I'm just going to say it, I've seen better Duke teams, without a doubt, over the years that won titles. And this one might very well get it done. They might just win the championship and, do what everyone thinks they're going to do. From the beginning of the season, I said that they would win it all and that Cooper Flagg would play for a national championship as a freshman, 18 years old. He should be in high school. This kid should be still playing high school basketball. He got to go to Duke, and now he's going to go pro. I'll keel over if that kid goes back to Duke. Dylan Harper already said he's going pro today, and he was at Rutgers for 5 minutes. And Cooper Flagg, and I think Dylan Harper's one of the most exciting players I've ever seen, and I know him. I've seen him work. Every single morning I saw that kid jacking shots and working on his game with trainers at 5 in the morning. But I still think Cooper Flagg is way better than him. I mean, like on another level. Like, I think Dylan Harper's the most exciting kid I've seen up close. And then this Cooper Flagg guy's just flat out better. Better than everybody. I mean, they let him train with the Olympic team. Like, this guy, he's already a pro basketball player playing at Duke. It's just not even fair. And he's different than Zion. Zion was a bull in a china shop. This kid's just a flat out Stretch Armstrong. My man is so long and so gifted and blocking shots from behind, making passes, rebounding, dunking, shooting three, shooting mid-range, driving to the 10. He's sick. He does it all.
Does it all. And now he's got a chance to finish his one-year run at Duke this weekend in San Antonio with a national championship and do the one-year wonder that we've seen some do in the past. Florida will also be in San Antonio this weekend. It did not look good for the Gators. Down double digits with under 10 minutes to go in this game. A 16-2 run to finish the game off. A lot of help on Clayton with a bunch of threes. Westwood won sports to get it done.
Clayton will lob it to Houck above the left elbow. Houck backdoor to Clayton, makes the catch inside. Has to dribble out of trouble in the paint, backs up, turns, fires a three from the top. It's good! He did it again! Clayton's got 28. Florida leads by 1. What a shot by Walter Clayton.
He had a layup. He dribbled out and shot a three.
PJ.
Yeah, I thought it was crazy seeing that kid get that ball and then, go beyond the elbow out and turn around and shoot a three. I just thought they got, for me, I thought they got lucky. I mean, I won't deny they earned it, but you got to slam that door shut. You're up 10 with 3 minutes to go. You got to win the game. And Texas Tech melted like an ice cream cone. It was simple as that. And I think Florida got lucky to get to the Final Four. So I think they could be had. I believe in you. They were done, and they should have been done. And now I think they're going to run into a team that wouldn't let that happen.
Yeah, what a turnaround for Golden. It only took them 3 years to get the Gators back in business. Their first Final Four since 2014. They will face Auburn Saturday. I'll give you those numbers when we come back.
He's doing great since they said he was a pervert. He's doing fantastic since then.
Remember that at the beginning of the year. That's gone away.
You are banking on a guy that's got one Sweet 16 berth in his career.
How many years has he been a D1 head coach?
What, I think 15?
18.
This clown is walking into that tradition. Let me tell you something, bro. You just stepped into the hot seat, because if you don't turn it around quick at Villanova, they're going to boo you out of there just like they boo you out of College Park tonight.
Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Cover High, the hated most basketball banquet dinner tonight is evolving rapidly. We'll be going to a relatively fancy restaurant for dinner and, let's just say, massive beverage intake valve. I mean, there will be, it is all happening tonight on a Monday night, no less. You think it was Monday Night Football or something. The party is going down tonight for the 4-time defending champs. I'm going to this party, this bash. It's all happening on a Monday.
Nice.
Tuesday is going to be a take it easy Tuesday, although we do have things scheduled during the day, which are going to be abusive in nature.
No doubt about that. One note here from the baseball games going on. The White Sox still lead the Twins 9-0 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Your old buddy from the Pirates, Martin Perez, no hits through 6 innings. How about that? No hits through 6 innings for Martin Perez. He's got 93 pitches. It's the first week of the season. I don't know how long they'll let him continue with this, but we shall see. No hitter currently in Chicago. Shut him down. Get him out of there. 4-0 Brewers still. 4-3 Orioles lead the Red Sox.
He never pitched 93 pitches his entire career in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he's usually got knocked out of the game by then, by the time he got to 93 pitches.
He was ass.
Scoreless Rockies-Phillies, top of the 4th in Philadelphia as well. All right, second time in tournament history, all 4 number 1 seeds advanced to the Final Four. 11.73% of ESPN.com brackets had all 1 seeds. There were 24 million brackets, so you could do the math from there. How many had all 4 going to the end? As far as the schedule, the first game on Saturday will be Florida and Auburn, 6:09 p.m. East tip at the Alamo Dome. Florida, -2.5, 160.5 is the early in the week total.
Yeah, I think Auburn will beat them. And you know what? As many games as I've hit now, I don't even care. I think Auburn will beat them. That's what I think. I think Auburn's a better team. I think Florida's, like I said, very good. And I think Auburn's very good and very violent. And I think they will bang you to death, and you'll have to earn it. You're not going in there shooting layups. without bruising. They'll be bruising.
Florida did beat them at their place back earlier in the season, during the regular season in the SEC. 90-81, a 9-point win in Auburn.
Kentucky beat Tennessee's ass twice and then got thwarted.
Yes, they did. I like Auburn here early in the week. I think Auburn's going to beat Florida on Saturday. So I'm going to go with the experienced
and I like Bruce Pearl over
seniors.
Golden, to be honest with you.
Yes, that as well.
But we'll
in
see.
the
I
second
think
game,
Florida could win. Florida could win the game. I'm not stupid.
Oh, no
I mean,
doubt. It's no doubt.
You're not a number one and not, capable of winning. All four of these teams can win.
Yeah, it's a coin flip game. The second game will be Duke and Houston just before 9 o'clock East tip. Duke minus 5.5, 136.5 the total.
Yeah, I got it at 4.5, and I think Duke will win and get it done. Either way, I think a lot of people think it's going to be a really close game. I think that Houston will have trouble scoring against Duke in the end, like everyone else does. All these great teams, Arizona came the closest. I'll give you this. I'll give you this much. I think Houston's way better than Arizona. So I wouldn't be surprised if Houston, A, won, B, covered. But I'm still willing to lay the 4.5 with Duke because there's something about that team on both ends of the floor that's it's like they don't even need to be coached. And I think the only thing that he really legitimately does well, like super standout-ish to me, is putting guys in at the right time. He's just constantly using his bench and putting guys in the right key moments in the right spots. He is a master, like Krzyzewski was, at when to put him in and where to put him in at what point of the game. So I think Duke just keeps coming at you. And I don't think Houston does that. I think they're playing with a 7-man rotation. I could be wrong, but Duke just keeps coming at you, and it never ends. Like, you see Flagg come out of the game, he was out for like 10 minutes. It doesn't even matter.
Does not even matter. Duke is the even money favorite to win it all. Florida plus 290, and then Houston and Auburn in the 400.
I think Houston and Auburn are both better than Florida.
First time on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.